Every time you make an excuse, you're taking a loan from your future. And one day, that debt will come due. Excuses are comfort disguised as logic. They sound smart. They sound reasonable. They even make sense when you say them out loud. I'm too busy. I don't have enough time. I don't know where to start. But deep down, you know, they're lies dressed in logic. Excuses are the invisible chains that keep you comfortable while your destiny passes you by. They whisper to you that you're being realistic, but what they really mean is that you're being afraid. You see, excuses are sneaky. They don't come shouting. They come gently, quietly with good reasoning. They tell you, you're not lazy, you're just tired. They say, you're not procrastinating, you're planning. But let's be real, most people don't need more planning, they need more doing. Because the truth is, your dreams don't care how you feel. Success doesn't care how tired you are, how busy you are, or how scared you are. It only responds to one thing: execution. You can't think your way into greatness, you must act your way into it. You can have the vision, the dream, the strategy, but until you move, nothing changes. Excuses are like a rocking chair. They give you something to do, but they take you nowhere. And many people are stuck, rocking back and forth in the same place, year after year, convincing themselves they're making progress when they're just decorating their comfort zone. Every time you give an excuse power, you trade potential for peace. You buy temporary comfort at the cost of permanent regret. You let your fears talk you out of your future. And let me tell you something, the price of an excuse is far greater than the pain of effort. You can recover from failure, but you can't recover from the years wasted on what if. You have to stop using logic to defend your limitations. Stop explaining why you can't and start exploring how you can. The moment you say, I'll figure it out, everything shifts. The universe moves for those who move. Life rewards those who act, but it will not wait for those who rationalize. The truth is, your dream will not argue with your excuses. It will simply walk away and find someone who's willing to show up without them. And that should terrify you. Not because you'll miss the dream, but because you'll miss the version of yourself that dream was designed to create. Excuses feel safe because they give you a reason not to try. But that's not safety. That's slow suicide. You're not protecting yourself from failure. You're guaranteeing mediocrity. You're choosing fear over faith, hesitation over hunger. And that's not who you were meant to be. So stop saying, I don't have time. You do. The problem is, you've been giving your time to things that don't deserve it. Stop saying, I'm not ready. You'll never be ready. Readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. Stop saying, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow is a myth that robs you of today. You owe it to yourself to break up with your excuses. You owe it to your future to stop playing small. You owe it to your destiny to stop defending the very thing that's keeping you from it. Because the life you want is waiting, and it's waiting on the other side of your excuses. You can't grow in the same environment where your excuses are fed and your fears are protected. Growth and comfort do not live at the same address. You cannot water your excuses and expect your potential to bloom. Yet, that's exactly what so many people do. They live in circles of comfort, surrounded by people who validate their excuses instead of challenging their greatness. If you want to change your life, you've got to change your environment, because the people around you will either stretch your standards or suffocate your spirit. If you're surrounded by people who make it easy for you to quit, you'll never know what it feels like to win. You can't evolve in an atmosphere that rewards your weakness. You can't elevate if you're always being comforted in your excuses. The truth is, growth is uncomfortable. Growth will stretch you, test you, and sometimes even break you, but it will build you. Your environment should not make you feel safe all the time. It should make you sharp. It should challenge you, hold you accountable, and push you to go beyond what's easy. Sometimes that means leaving behind people who love your potential but fear your progress. Because there will be those who say, you've changed, and they'll be right. You have. You've outgrown comfort. You've outgrown fear. You've outgrown excuses. Stop feeding the part of you that's afraid to be great. You cannot grow when you're still catering to the voice of doubt that tells you to stay where it's safe. You're not meant to stay safe. You're meant to stand out. You have to get around people who force you to level up. People who look you in the eye and say, I love you, but you're better than this. Because comfort might feel good, but it kills potential. Challenge might hurt, but it heals potential. Every successful person you see today once had to make a hard decision, to step out of the environment that kept them small. They had to walk away from familiar voices and familiar fears. They had to create a new circle, a new standard, and a new identity. And you must do the same. You can't say, I want to grow, while staying planted in the soil of excuses. You can't say, I want more, while living in an environment that celebrates less. Growth is lonely at first, because not everyone is willing to do what you are willing to do. But loneliness is temporary, regret is permanent. So don't be afraid to outgrow people, habits, or places. You're not leaving them behind. You're leading by example. Show them what's possible when you stop feeding your excuses and start fueling your excellence. Because at the end of the day, growth isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. And that version of you cannot survive where excuses thrive. So, if you want to rise, stop watering what's holding you down. Step out of comfort, step into challenge, and watch your life expand in ways you never thought possible. You can't conquer what you're not willing to confront. Most people spend their entire lives running from themselves, from their pain, their fears, their failures, their past. They build walls, they wear masks, they pretend everything's fine while quietly battling the voice inside that whispers, you're meant for more. But you can't grow behind a mask. You can't heal from what you refuse to face. And you cannot reach your destiny while hiding from your own truth. See, your excuses aren't random. They're rooted in your fears. You say you don't have time. But what you really mean is, I'm scared to fail. You say you're not ready, but what you really mean is, I don't think I'm enough. You say the timing isn't right, but what you're really afraid of is being judged when you try. The moment you stop lying to yourself and start facing the truth, you unlock a new kind of power, the power of responsibility. Because the second you take responsibility, you take back control. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sail. You can't control what life throws at you, but you can control how you respond. And when you decide to stop blaming circumstances, people, or luck, and you look in the mirror and say, it's on me, that's when transformation begins. The moment you confront your excuses, you stop being their prisoner and start becoming their master. Every dream, every goal, every breakthrough demands honesty. You have to ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What story have I been telling myself that's keeping me stuck? Because your life will always follow the story you believe. If you keep saying, I can't do it, your mind will agree and close every door of opportunity. But if you say, I'll figure it out, suddenly the universe starts revealing ways forward. Some of you have spent too long blaming your past. You say, I grew up poor. So what? That's your story, not your sentence. You say, I failed before. Good. That means you tried. You say, no one believes in me. That's perfect, because you don't need their belief. You need your own. Every champion had to look their excuses in the face and say, not today. They had to confront their fear, their doubt, their insecurity, and walk through it anyway. And that's what you must do. You don't conquer fear by waiting for it to disappear. You conquer it by walking through it trembling, scared, and uncertain, but walking anyway. That's courage. That's power. That's ownership. Because when you face yourself, the excuses start to lose their grip. They can't survive in the presence of truth. Don't run from your story. Redeem it. Don't avoid your pain. Use it. Don't hide your weakness. Harness it. Everything that once broke you can now build you if you're willing to face it. Because what you refuse to confront will always control you. But the moment you stand up to it, your life changes. You shift from victim to victor. You go from excuse maker to history maker. So confront your excuses, face your fears, and take responsibility for your own story. Because freedom begins the moment you stop running. The distance between you and the life you dream of isn't measured in miles. It's measured in consistency. It's not about what you do once, it's about what you do daily. Success doesn't come from one massive leap. It comes from 1,000 small, consistent steps taken when no one's watching. And that's where most people fail. They start strong, but stop short. They get excited, but they don't stay committed. They want results, but they don't want repetition. Consistency is the bridge between intention and achievement. It's the difference between wishing and winning, between starting and finishing. Everybody wants to shine on stage, but few are willing to rehearse backstage. Everybody wants the reward, but few want the routine. You see, Your habits reveal your hunger. If you say you want success, but you're inconsistent with your effort, what you really want is comfort disguised as ambition. Every day, you're either strengthening your future or feeding your excuses. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you grow stronger. Every time you push past tiredness, fear, or doubt, you expand your capacity. You're building momentum, and momentum is the secret weapon of greatness. Once you get moving, once you keep showing up, your results start compounding, and that's when magic happens. But consistency isn't glamorous. It's not loud. It's quiet discipline. It's waking up early when no one's clapping. It's studying when no one's watching. It's showing up to the gym, to your craft, to your calling when no one's cheering. It's doing the work again and again until it becomes your nature. Because when consistency becomes your habit, success becomes your shadow. You've got to understand something. The dream doesn't come to the one who wants it most. It comes to the one who works for it longest. The one who stays after everyone else quits. The one who keeps planning even when there's no sign of harvest. Because consistency isn't about instant results, it's about long-term transformation. When you stay consistent, even when you fail, you're still moving forward. Even when it hurts, you're still learning. Even when you're tired, you're still building. That's how winners are made. Through daily discipline, not random bursts of motivation. And let me tell you, there will be days when you won't feel like it. There will be days when quitting looks easier. But that's the exact moment your future self is watching you, waiting to see what you'll do. Will you surrender to your feelings or stand firm in your faith? Will you keep showing up or keep making excuses? Because your results don't care how you feel. They only care how you perform. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. You don't need massive change overnight. You need small progress every day. So stop starting and stopping. Stop planning and postponing. Pick your dream and stay with it. Because when you show up consistently, even when it's hard, life begins to reward you in ways you never imagined. Consistency is your proof to the universe that you're serious about your calling. And when you prove you're serious, doors start opening, people start appearing, and opportunities start aligning. But it all starts with a simple decision: to show up again and again until your results can't ignore you anymore. The truth is, comfort is a silent killer. It looks harmless. It feels warm, easy, and familiar. But it's the reason so many dreams never wake up. Comfort whispers lies that sound like logic. It tells you, you've done enough for today when you haven't even scratched your potential. It says, take it easy when the window of opportunity is closing. It makes you settle for good enough when greatness is begging you to rise higher. You see, comfort doesn't show up as a villain. It shows up disguised as peace. It tells you you're resting, but really you're rusting. The longer you stay comfortable, the harder it becomes to move. Comfort weakens your hunger. It makes your goals optional and your discipline negotiable. And that's why some of the most talented people never make it, not because they lacked ability, but because they got too comfortable where they were. There's no growth in comfort. Nothing worth having comes without resistance. You can't build muscle without tension. You can't develop strength without struggle. You can't evolve by doing the same thing every day. Growth requires discomfort. It requires stretching, sweating, breaking habits, and facing fears. And yet, so many people run from discomfort like it's punishment, when in reality, it's preparation. The pain you're avoiding is the process that would make you unstoppable. Every discomfort you dodge today becomes a delay in your destiny tomorrow. When you choose comfort, you trade your purpose for pleasure. You trade long-term fulfillment for short-term satisfaction. You trade who you could become for who you currently are. You can't afford to stay comfortable when your dreams are calling. The world doesn't reward those who play it safe. It rewards those who dare to grow. You can't walk into new levels with old habits. You can't reach higher grounds with low expectations. You can't step into the future if you're clinging to the past. The people who win in life are those who embrace discomfort. They learn to make peace with the process. They know that every time they feel resistance, they're growing stronger. They understand that comfort zones are beautiful places, but nothing ever grows there. So I challenge you, disrupt your comfort. Wake yourself up, push past the point where it feels easy. Because the moment you start stretching, you'll start discovering who you really are. Your strength doesn't come from what's familiar. It comes from what you conquer. Don't just exist where it's safe, evolve where it's hard. Because the harder the climb, the greater the view. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your invitation. It's life's way of saying, you're meant for more. And the sooner you stop fighting it and start flowing with it, the sooner your future begins to unfold. There's a fire inside you that's waiting to be unleashed. It's your potential, your unexpressed greatness, your unused power, your unfulfilled purpose. But that fire will never burn if you keep drowning it in excuses. You weren't created to just survive. You were built to thrive, to rise, to lead to impact. But the world will never see what you carry until you decide to bring it out. Your potential is begging you to show up. It's crying out for action, for focus, for discipline. Every day you delay, that potential grows weaker. Every excuse you make, that fire burns lower. And one day, if you're not careful, it'll fade completely. Not because it wasn't there, but because you didn't feed it. Potential is a seed. It only grows when you plant it in effort. You can't pray for a harvest if you never till the soil. You can't expect results from work you never did. Too many people are waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect plan, the perfect moment. But that's not how destiny works. Destiny responds to movement, not waiting. The longer you wait, the more your potential dies in silence. You've got gifts the world hasn't seen yet. Ideas no one has thought of. Strength you haven't even tapped into. But none of it matters if you don't act. The greatest tragedy isn't dying. It's dying with your potential still inside you. It's reaching the end of your life and realizing you lived 20% of what you were capable of. Your potential doesn't need perfection. It needs participation. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start. Because once you start, you activate something powerful, momentum. And momentum will do for you what motivation never could. Once you get moving, everything starts aligning. People show up. Opportunities appear. Energy flows. But it only begins when you show up for your own life. Every day you have two choices: shrink back or show up. You can either surrender to your excuses or submit to your purpose. One path leads to regret. The other leads to greatness. And greatness isn't reserved for the chosen few. It's reserved for those who choose to show up again and again, no matter how tired, scared, or uncertain they are. You've got to stop waiting for someone to believe in you. Your potential already does. Stop waiting for permission. Your future is waiting on your decision. It's time to silence the excuses, break the comfort, and show up with everything you've got. Because when you finally decide to give your all, life will meet you halfway. The moment you show up for your purpose, the world will make room for you. Doors will open that were once locked. Paths will appear where there were none, because potential responds to persistence. So wake up, stand up, show up. Your future is waiting, your dreams are watching, and your potential, your untapped greatness, is begging for you to finally say, I'm ready. Ladies and gentlemen, life doesn't reward intentions, it rewards action. You can talk about your dreams, pray about your purpose, visualize your success, but until you move, nothing moves. Your future is not waiting for a miracle. It's waiting for decision. You can't afford to keep playing small, hiding behind excuses, or letting fear whisper that you're not enough. You are enough. You've always been enough. You just have to prove it to yourself through consistent action. Every time you wake up and give your best, you're telling the universe, I'm serious about my destiny. Every time you push through the pain, the doubt, and the fatigue, you're planting the seeds of a greater tomorrow. You're not just fighting for success. You're fighting for your story, your legacy, your name. But remember this, potential means nothing if it dies unused. Your gifts, your talents, your voice, your purpose, they were never meant to stay buried inside you. They were meant to serve, to shine, to transform lives. Don't rob the world of what you were born to give. The world doesn't need another excuse. It needs your example. And yes, the road will be tough. You'll stumble. You'll fail. You'll question yourself. But that's part of the process, because every setback is a setup for a stronger comeback. You're not meant to have it easy. You're meant to have it worth it. So stop letting your fears write your future. Stop letting comfort dictate your destiny. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Create it. Because the truth is, no one's coming to save you. You are your own rescue. You are your own revolution. Today, make a vow to yourself that you will no longer lie beneath your potential, that you will no longer make excuses for why you can't, but start finding reasons why you must. Promise yourself that from this moment forward, you'll show up, not just when it's convenient, but when it's hard, when it's lonely, when no one's watching. Because that's where greatness is forged, in the quiet moments of persistence when you could quit but don't. In those moments, you're building something greater than success. You're building character. So stand tall, dust off your doubts, look your fears in the face and say, you don't control me anymore. You've got greatness in you, and the world is waiting for you to unleash it. Your potential is not a dream. It's a demand. And it's begging you right now to show up.